Hey everybody, my name is Perla Spear and I am one of the librarians here at Tribeca and working with Bethany on this AuthorTalk. And we are so excited to have a current Tribeca student who is an author and is going to talk about her book, which I'm going to, not my copy, it's the only copy in the world right now. It's forthcoming, it's a March publication date. We're so happy that she's going to talk about her experience in writing this book, but her experience that led her to write this book. The book is called One Dress, One Year, One Girl's Stand Against Human Trafficking. And of course, this event is part of Human Trafficking Awareness Week, which the library is co-sponsoring this with the Center for Social Justice. So, welcome, Beth. Thank you.
Yeah, it is Human Trafficking Awareness Week. Just blurb, for those of you who don't know, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in the CLCS, the movie Nefarious Merchant of Souls will be shown, and then I think this week at the SGA booth we'll be selling tickets for $5 a piece for the Unchained, the Exposed tour on Friday night. That's like a walk-through experience of kind of understanding how human trafficking works and what it looks like. That's actually taking place at the fairgrounds. We will be running a shuttle bus. So yeah, all sorts of good things happening this week. Thank you all for being here. I'm really excited. It is an honor to be asked to do this. And so I'm just gonna start right in. This is the book, One Dress, One Year. I co-wrote it with Susanna Foth-Ottman, who is just an incredible, incredible writer. I'm going to talk a little bit about the publishing journey later, but it was a gift to get to work with so many incredibly talented women throughout this process. Editors, co-author, my agent, everybody at the publisher. It's been amazing. So anyhow, she's pretty great, and so just wanted to let you know that her name is on the cover too. So, all right, so I'm just going to start right in. I'm going to do some reading and some talking and yada yada. So this is the introduction. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. When I was in middle school, I found out that slavery still exists. In fact, every morning, millions of men, women, and children around the world wake up trapped in a system of human trafficking. Faced with the same bleak reality day after day, the dreams of freedom remain just that, dreams. I knew it didn't have to be this way, but if anything was going to change, ordinary people, people like you and me, needed to get involved. So at 16, I decided to do something about it. From January 11th, 2012 to January 10th, 2013, I wore the same black dress every day. It was my way of raising awareness about and money to help end human trafficking across the globe. One dress, 1 year for freedom. It was a year-long journey that I chose. People who were enslaved don't have many choices, so surely I could limit my clothing choices for a year to help them be free. While my experience wasn't nearly the same thing as what those who are enslaved face, it was a connection I could make to help others understand human trafficking. I then asked people to partner with me by giving to one of 6 organizations working to end modern-day slavery. Using the black dress as my primary piece, I added other clothing and accessories to create different looks, and each day I posted a photo of my outfit on my blog. By the end of the year, I'd worn the same black dress 366 different ways. Of course, I would pick a leap year. I went into the year thinking I would do something big for God. I was going to raise $100,000 to help end the fight against modern-day slavery. My blog and my dress were going to change the world. I thought the dress project would give me value and make me special. I wanted to prove that I was better than other people my age. After all, unlike many of my peers, I was thinking about important things. Sacrificing normal clothes for a year, or talking about slavery, or challenging others to fight for the same cause was supposed to make me important too. Instead, the year I spent in the dress changed me in ways I never expected. It taught me to pay attention to fashion, and it altered the way I see myself. That year, the people who partnered with me gave $8,615 to the International Justice Mission, Not for Sale, the A21 campaign, Compassion International, Restore International, and Love 146. The money was used to rescue people, provide them with rehabilitation services and legal counsel, and prevent human trafficking in vulnerable communities. I'd always been told that pride goes before the fall, but I think some of us fall harder than others. I didn't come anywhere close to my fundraising goal. Throughout the year, I felt like I should have been doing more, but I couldn't figure out what or how. Nothing seems to go the way I wanted it to. It didn't make me feel better like I thought it would. Instead, the dress helped me see myself for who I was and who I still am. A girl who needed to be set free from perfectionism and pride and guilt and the notion that I could buy my way into God's good graces with my grand plans. I couldn't. All I could do was hope that somehow, even when I felt unlovable, He loved me still. The beautiful part was that in my darkness and my doubt, God met me. He's still meeting me. I'm sure your story won't be the same as mine, but I bet if you look closely, you'll find God meeting you too. The Dress Project was a way that a high school girl helped raise money for organizations that are bringing freedom to people worldwide. During that year, though, I also discovered how much I needed the freedom God can bring. Freedom is for all of us, and it's something all of us can be part of extending to others. But it is only something we can participate in when we know that we are loved and that we are already free. So, I'm just going to share... I'm not going to make y'all watch I have a video of all 366 days. It's like 8 minutes long, and that's just boring. So, but this is the first 100 days, so it's only like 2 minutes long. But this is a little bit of different things that I did with the dress, just to kind of give you a feel for how the project looked before I get into the story of it, and how to solve it. And I'm starting to learn that justice has a lot to do with listening, a lot to do with being present in places where people are hurting, being present with Christ and being Christ to those people. That it's not necessarily about solving problems or great, big, grand acts. That it's not our job to save the world. And so then in June, I found out that the little trip to Pennsylvania that I wrote about in chapter 10 here, during that trip, I apparently made friends with a tick that I didn't know about. And that tick gave me several little gifts, including Lyme disease and a couple of other infections, and thus my body was falling apart. And if there's anything that I've learned, you know, I'm not one of those people who's going to sit here and tell you that having a chronic illness is a blessing. And if I had it all to choose, I would choose exactly what I've had. I wouldn't. I would choose to feel good. But I can see ways that God is working in this. And one of the things that He is doing is stripping me of the notion that I can save the world. Because there are days when I can barely get out of bed. And it has been really important for me, and I think that that's been a recurring theme, because throughout the year in the dress, I continually found myself coming to grips with my own weakness and my own lack, and how little I really could do to change things. And so a lot of these past couple of years have been about learning to rest in not what I do, but in who Christ says I am, and then choosing to still work out of that, because I still don't think that we were meant, and this is a personal example, this is not meant to jab at anybody else, to spend all day staring at Facebook. I've never, ever, ever, ever done that, I promise, but yeah. That there are better ways for me to spend my days, that there are more important things for me to do. But at the same time, I don't do those things because I'm going to save the world. So it's been really interesting kind of how that has coincided with the dress and with the publishing journey. So on that note, I just want to read a little bit from the conclusion, and then that's about all I have. But if you guys have any questions,
this next
or
video
whatever,
actually,
then we can do that. So this is day 800 plus in Sighișoara, Romania. Oh, this is important actually to this story, I forgot. So one of the things that I was diagnosed with during the year of the dress is PCOS, which is a hormonal imbalance that causes a lot of really interesting symptoms. It was
So
me.
for me,
One of the most
little black
notable
dress
and one of the ones that I struggled with the
and
most was the fact that I
a
had
lot of different
what's called nail pattern
kind of
growth on my
options,
face.
different styles.
And it's really fun for me to watch back
really
into that video.
noticeable,
There was
because
actually
I
an
can see, like,
incident. Oh, that's my friend's
on
skirt.
day 100.
Oh, that's my mom's sweater.
When someone who I didn't know, who didn't realize
those are the
we were
outfits
friends,
that one of my best friends
posted a
came
photo
over
of
and
me
helped me
on Facebook
figure out, making fun of me. So that was really interesting. Anyhow,
But the thing
thing
is,
to work
the
through.
story
So,
of
but
the
it's
dress
that's
that
an
I
important
started
piece to
a
this
long
story.
time before I ever put on that dress.
Okay,
I
so
wore
this
it
is
from
in
January of my junior year
Sometimes
of high
God
school
turns our
to
whole
January
world
of my
upside
senior
down in
year
an
of high school.
instant. Other times he does this.
But when I was in middle school,
that's how it happened
focus on
during
the
the
family
family
was publishing.
There isn't a
Graham
moment I
magazine,
can point to where
Teenage
everything
Girls.
changed, and
And
by
by
the
summer
end of
after
the year,
my
I saw the
second
whole
year,
world
they did
in
a
a
teacher
different
story
way.
on Natalie
That's
Grant.
also what happened when I
And
moved to
the
Nashville,
story was called
Tennessee,
Make
to
It
go to
Matter.
college.
And she was talking about how
225
she
days
had
after I
took
took
off
off
the
the
dress
dress
for the last time.
Well, not
I
just
dragged all my
She's talking about
belongings
her
over near
process
the
of
stairwell
discovering
and
making
making
my
my
trash
trash
storm
storm
listed.
listed.
I've chosen a
And
major
some of
of
the
social
things that she was
justice
working
and
to
Kentucky
do
University.
University, kind of her
It is
public
an opportunity to
influence
study the very
to
things
help
I'm
bring an end to
passionate
it.
about.
At 16, I started the year with a dress, a blog, and a mission. The magazine was running a contest called Make
That
It
mission
Matter.
and those dreams led me
And
to
my friend and I both read this magazine together, but as I continued to grow and change, decided that we wanted to do something really with it because we wanted to have a contest.
grown and changed with me.
I
So
now
this
realize that taking a stand
story
for justice doesn't
had a
have to
huge
involve
impact
big
in
dramatic
two
gesture
ways.
intended to change the
First,
entire
it
world.
was the first introduction
Maybe it's
I
something
had
much
to
smaller.
trafficking.
Righting
I had
wrongs
known
one
before then,
relationship
but
that
it's
slavery
like
still exists. I thought
I found that discovering who I am has much less to do
But
with impressing
second,
people
and
and
much
much
more
more
friend and I
living a life of
into
faith
that, and
whenever
while none of our
God's
ideas
called.
got off the ground,
In high school, I meant wearing the same dress for a year.
we did
But in
decide
college,
together
it was
that we would read
different.
the book Do Hard
The
Things
dress
by
project has
Alice
come full
Harris.
circle this summer
And they
after
were
my
calling for
freshman
what they
year,
called
and
a
I find myself
revolution,
standing on the
or
balcony
teenage
in
rebellion
Orleans
against the
Cathedral in
influence of
St. Croix, Romania.
And it really
With a group
resonated
of
with
fellow
us. We felt like,
Trevecca
okay,
students.
we can do more than
We're a
what
week into our trip
teenagers
to
are
Eastern
expected to
Europe.
do.
Our purpose for this trip isn't to volunteer, but
And
to
so it was
learn.
really challenging.
We're
It was
visiting
really
churches,
formative
ministries,
for
villages,
us.
and
But at the
cities,
same
learning
time,
about
as
what
I was
God is
reading that, I
doing
kind of
among
missed
people
the
in
part
this
of
world.
it. Sometimes doing
We're
hard
discovering
things
what it
and
means
doing
to serve
small
a God
things
who
well.
has a heart for vulnerable
And I thought that I had to do something big.
One of our professors has
And
challenged
so,
us to not simply hear the
I
stories
have
of
always been a
people,
person
but
for big
stories of
ideas.
those who are
My
different
mom
from
used to
us.
tell me when I was little,
He's asked us to think about what it means for us to be
big,
vulnerable.
and you're turning
That's what I'm
into
thinking
something
about as I
this
stand in
big.
the cathedral with my class.
And
the vaulted
and
ceiling
it
soars
so
above
I've always
us
had
in
a
wide
tendency
art.
to do that, to
Sunlight
have big
pours in
ideas.
through the windows,
And I've not always had a
many
tendency to
icons
follow through on
that
them.
cover every
In
inch
fact,
of the
I've
wall.
rarely had tendency.
I lean over the railing, watching the service unfold.
So then,
rows
in
of
May
wooden
of my
chairs
sophomore
pouring across
year,
the marble floors
Alex and
of
Brett
the
posted
hall.
on their blog about their friend
A priest in robes
video
reads
was
scripture.
just pop up.
Even though I can't
Who
understand
was
what
wearing the same dress for
his
100
voice
days
fills the
for
space,
24.
echoing up into
And I
the
followed her project, and I
And
thought it was
leaning
really
against the
cool.
cathedral wall, closed my eyes.
She has an
to
incredible
the
fashion sense. This is just
The whispers of my
totally
classmates
aside.
mingle
But if you're
with
looking for like
the
a
sound
really
of
cool
the
project
living.
from a fashion
I opened my eyes
perspective,
again and looked
her
across the
project is
church
incredible.
to the other balcony,
and
and
she did some really
two
cool things with her
images
photos and
of
with
Jesus
her
painted on the
dress and
ceiling
stuff, and I
above.
absolutely love it. And
In
I'm
one,
jealous.
Jesus reaches down to a dead girl and takes her by the
Not
hand.
that this is about
raising her from
comparison,
her bed.
but
In another, he stretches out his hand and touches the skin of a man
so-
who's seen.
So I watched her do
I
her
brushed a tear
project,
from my
and
cheek, and
she
she
got
got
soft
some
skin
skin
beneath
beneath
my
my
feet,
feet.
and she raised
Most of the hair
I
covering
want
my
to say
face
it was
was
$50,000,
$50,000,
but it is hard to remember when it was dark first.
Some days it still is.
And it was a kind of a
Incredible.
time.
I still have to
Okay,
deal with
this is
The
doable.
tears fall faster.
But I
when
didn't
think
really
about
think
all
that I
the
was going to
things
do a
in my
project
body
like that.
that
And
are
then that
broken
fall,
and
my mom and I were
unbalanced.
sitting in the living room.
It's good to know that
through
Jesus
all
is
of
still
my
in
ideas that
business
I've had.
and
And human trafficking
I've come a long way in
growing
understanding how to
in
live in a
me is
broken
something that
body
I felt
that's
like I
still
needed
bitter
to do
that I have to
something
deal with.
about. I couldn't
I just
just
wish
stand
Jesus
by
would
while
take
people
away
were being
that he would reach
sold.
out and touch me like he touched
And
the leper and
so,
leave me with a body that functions like it's supposed to.
I
If
just
there's
didn't
one thing
know
that
which
makes
of
me
my
feel
ideas
vulnerable, this is it.
were going to be good.
Earlier this
which
week
of
in a
them
different part of
I
Eastern
couldn't even
Europe,
follow
we spent
through
an
it.
afternoon
So my mom and I
with
sat down
girls
and
who
talked
survived
through all of
trafficking.
them, and then I kind of had a
We
sense,
visited
and
together,
then
ate
at
pizza,
the end of our
and drank
conversation, I
cake.
said, well,
We
you
also
know,
spent some time singing together.
there's this one other idea
As we did, I
playing
looked
in
at
the
the
back of
faces
my
around
mind.
me.
You know
Those
that
of my
dress
classmates
project
and
that
the
we
girls
did?
we were visiting.
And as we talked
And
about it,
Saturday
it kind of started to take shape.
Before we
I
left,
started
they
to
chose
post
one
with my
last song.
friends, and
It was a song of
it was
blessing,
another
joy,
big
and
idea.
worship, and it was one that we
And I
all
think in a
did.
sense, a lot of us were
Languages
kind of
swirled together as
surprised
we
when
Many of us
it
heard the
actually
words
happened,
of
that I actually followed through and did it.
How do you worship
But,
in the midst of pain? That's a question.
So I started
still don't know
pulling
how to
together the
answer.
blog. I
The
set my
sound
start
of
date
voices
for February
raised in
1st,
song,
2012,
raised in song, rings
and we're
through
going to wear it
the
for a year.
Worship in the midst
And
of
then
that
something
thought brings
happened
fresh
to
tears
change
to my
that a
eyes.
little
I
bit.
look one more time.
I
to
was in the
picture
process
Jesus
of
raising
making the
from
dress
the dead.
because
He's
I
always
wanted
reached
something
out
really
towards
versatile.
people
I
and there's
fitted
something
buttons down the front
Perhaps my
so that I
peace
could
could wear it open over things. I could do different things with it. I could wear it backwards if I wanted to. But because of that, I needed to make it.
The unspeakable joy.
And so I was in the process of making the dress at the beginning of January when this happened.
I'm still on this
The cursor circles in an endless palette wheel as I wait for the webpage to load. This week, thousands of college students are gathered in Atlanta to worship, learn, and give. Passion Conferences holds a gathering at the beginning of
Am I
each year.
lovable?
This year, the
Am I
organization
valuable?
is live streaming
We
these
said we get
sessions and
obsessed
leaving
with
them
the
up
idea of
online for a
living
day,
life.
so I'm catching as many as
That's
I
what gives
can.
our lives value.
I click on Christine's
Personality.
Keen's photo,
Our
and
legacy
it
is that
videos
we are
are
loved by
awesome.
God.
The web page
what God is doing.
Even though it's
Every
recording, I can feel the energy coming through the screen. Christine is on stage, This moment
She and her
of
husband
started
started
in
in
1921 with the
to
goal
remind me that
of
I
abolishing slavery, and there will be many more moments in my journey. They worked toward this goal by raising awareness, providing a safe place for rescued women,
Your moment
and
may
using
take place
education
in
to
a truck
prevent
stop in
trafficking.
Mobile, Alabama.
I slide onto my bed and
or
pull
at
a
a youth
laptop
camp in
close to
San
me.
Francisco, California.
The intensity of
You may
Christine's
never wear a
voice
dress
and the
for a
urgency
year
of her
struggle
tone
with
draw
body
me in.
issues or fly
27
million
million people woke up in slavery today.
That God is with you.
Every 30 seconds, someone
But you
is
have a
trafficked.
powerful legacy.
Only a few of them are
It is
ever
the same
rescued.
as mine. God
As
loves
Christine
you
talks
too.
about trafficking,
It
I
may
feel my
take
stomach
years to
twist.
understand it.
How could
It is
anyone
the
do that to
only
another
thing that
human
matters.
being?
And the craziest
People made
part
in the
is
image of
that
God
we
should never be
truly
treated like
believe
property,
it.
never
We
tricked or
human
coerced into forced labor and prostitution. Her voice grows soft as she tells about
I
a group
have.
of rescued women who were living in shelters between 17 and 30 and started the
She told them if anybody has any questions about like the dress or
As Christine shared with them, one of the women
Also,
interrupted and asked,
So
"What you're
this is a
telling
bit
me
of an
about
odd
God
event
is
because
true.
usually they do these
Then why did
talks
you
like,
sooner?"
and the author has books to sell.
Christine pauses,
My book comes out
swallowing
March
her
1st.
rising.
That's in a month.
The stadium is silent.
So we have little
I brushed the
cards,
tears
I
out of my
believe.
eyes.
Jamie Kessler has them.
Why didn't
and-
they come
Yeah,
sooner?
they have cards over
Why
there, so
didn't
if you're
someone
interested,
rescue
you can
her
grab one of those as a reminder.
How
to
can we
pre-order.
learn to know
The other
God
thing is,
with
in
all
front of
this
Rebecca
children,
on
yet
this table,
let's let
there
she
is
just
a
keep
sheet.
happening?
And
Why
it
don't
has
we do
the
this
space
something?
for name and
Any-
email. So if you'd like
These questions
you know,
race through my mind.
occasional
She's
email
telling us
reminders, you know,
to take
hey,
action in response to
the book is
stories
coming
we
out.
know. She says we
I
can all
promise
play
I
ball,
won't
stopping modern
relentlessly
slavery.
pester you.
The dress is my
Because that's
something.
annoying.
It's
But
my voice
if
raised
you're
in
interested, you can.
I won't wait
there
another minute.
and I will.
I click open another
my
tab and
fancy
type in the
schmancy
address to my blog.
But
But
yeah,
post,
that's all
I
I
let all
have.
the emotion.
Anybody have any
Christine's
questions?
message spill onto the page.
Cool.
I invite
Well,
people
wait,
to
wait,
join me
I got
on the journey of
one. You know I'd have one. How do you think the book fits into the whole story? You know, your initial desire, and now you've got a book, unexpected, and where do you think that's going to go?
I have no
We
idea.
should be just as desperate.
I'm just along for the
I
ride.
published my post to get back to work on the dress.
I don't know
They
what's
can't
next.
wait, and neither will I. 24
yeah.
hours later, the dress is finished.
I'm really, really
It's
grateful
not
for
what I
the
imagined,
opportunity.
but it's ready for me to wear.
It's a
pretty
weird
loose, and
thing
some spots
because I
it feels more
don't-
like a sack than a dress.
On the one hand, I don't
If
want to make
anyone
it all
looks too
about
closely,
me.
they'll see slipshod
Um,
sewing and uneven seams.
You know, I want people to walk
It's no
away
work of fashion,
knowing,
but the last
A,
button
we
was
can and
the
should
last tuck
be
is
wearing
beloved
and
of
do
the
something
circus
about the
and
things that are happening in our
They
world.
wander around the
That
house in a daze.
God is
the way to
indeed
put the project
making
is
all
slowly
things new, and He's invited us
Still,
to
I can't get
part of that
Christine's
work
words out of my
with Him.
head.
But
February
also to
1st
walk
is too
away
far away
knowing
and too long
that
to wait.
we
A
don't
new date
have to
comes
save the
tonight,
world.
January
That's not
11th.
something we can do.
Even
That's
trafficking
something we
awareness
should aspire to. But the
It's
world
less
already
than a
has
week
a
away.
savior.
The next morning, I talk with my
who was
parents,
perfect.
Tori, my best friend,
We're kind of not.
and ask them if I'm crazy.
And
They
so
tell me to
yeah,
go
I
for
don't
it.
know exactly
So I
what
announced
I'm
on my
but I
blog.
hope that that's kind of what people.
And thus on
get.
January 11th, 2012, I put on a dress.
Are you still
And then on
blogging?
January
I am.
12th, 2012.
Yeah, don't go to
But
onedressmyear.com
on
because I
that
let
same
that
dress.
expire because I didn't want to.
And on January 13th,
domain
Ben
names over to you.
So
BethanyWinz.com. Let me clarify. My last name is Winz. It is W-I-N-Z. One time someone asked
And,
what my blog was, and I said it was BethanyWinz.com.
you know, it's not-
and he didn't know
looking
that
at
my
it
last
from the
name was
front and
Winz,
you're
and he thought I was really
thinking about
narcissistic,
it.
and it was awkward.
And
So,
not necessarily.
I do have a pretty great last name, but that's just my first name
When
and
I
my
look
last name
back on
smooshed
that
together.
year and all the things that
That is
happened
not
that year, all the
supposed
things
to be a
I've
statement
learned,
about
it really does feel like
my-
And they're on the card.
Victorious is yes. My blog.
I started
with
with enthusiasm. My goal is to raise $100,000.
Thank you so much.
If Eleni could raise $50,000 in 100 days, surely I could raise
Okay,
$100,000.
so there were 6 different organizations.
In fact,
that
the woman who
I
fired
specifically
me
asked people to send money
$100,000.
to. There were a few people who emailed
I
me
thought,
and said, hey, I really want to donate to this
I mean,
anti-trafficking
it's not
organization. And
that
so I did
bad
add those to my
of a
total as
deal, is it?
well. So I said that as my goal.
And throughout the year, I really
there's a
struggled
lot
because
of organizations.
I
who
raised
are
$8,600
and something. I didn't want to give everybody a list
And
of
that was incredible.
67 grateful. I got to watch God
So
move
I
in
picked
people's hearts, and I got to watch
Compassion
them jump in
International.
on this project.
And
one of the
cause,
leading
and it was
causes
amazing.
of trafficking is poverty.
One night,
And so
especially, I was
Compassion
at youth camp
International
and I had,
provides helps
I
families
hadn't
out of
actually gotten a
poverty
chance to
and
share about the
provides
dress, but one of the
education
youth
for
pastors
kids.
had shared
And
about it
that's really,
and
really
invited
important.
students
And
and
great
chaperones
chaperones
on the
on
last
the
night
bottom to
bring
the
money with
not-for-sale
them for
campaign.
offering.
They
So
do
I
some
stood there and I
rescue
watched
villages
as the band played their
But they
worship
also do a
songs
lot as far as economic
stream
enterprise goes.
of youth and
They have a
chaperones
lot of
walked forward to drop
kind
their
of
money
business
and
startups that allow people, whether they're coming out
as
of
they did
trafficking
this, we were
or
singing,
are in
of
a
course,
community where they might be
I see a
vulnerable to
generation
trafficking.
rising up to take their place.
It gives them a
with
good solid job rather
And it was
than
just an
someone
incredible
saying,
moment because
hey,
I got to
come
watch
be
people
a waitress
not only
2 countries
become
away.
aware that
They
human
ended up
trafficking
not
exists,
being a waitress.
but then also decide to do
Um,
something about it.
And so,
And that's one of the most important
yeah, so
things
not
about
for
issues like this
a
is
little bit
that
more on
we
economic
can be
enterprise.
aware all
The
day
821
long.
campaign
And that doesn't
focuses
necessarily
specifically on
change
ending
anything.
sex trafficking.
It's when we choose to
They work a
act
lot in
that things
they
start to
started
change.
their work a lot in like Greece and Eastern
So,
Europe.
it was an
but they've
amazing
expanded
year.
since then.
But it was
and
always,
I think
it
they
was
do
also a hard
some
year.
direct work in the
There
US
was,
as
of
well
course,
now.
the wrestling with the
and
fact that I
they,
set a goal
that
that
toward rescue
was
and
10
rehabilitation
times more than what I
and legal
actually
justice
raised.
for women.
And so while what I raised was great,
Love
I still felt like I
146,
failed.
they work, I think, mostly with children.
I looked at my
and
pictures
again,
and
they're
I
more
thought,
focused
well,
on
they're
sex
not as good as
trafficking.
Elaine's. I don't really have a
They
great
do
fashion
work in the
sense. My
Philippines,
hair's too frizzy. This
and a couple of other
and the other
places,
thing.
and then I believe
And I kind of struggled with
also
feeling like I wasn't
fairly
doing a good
new
enough
work
job.
in the U.S.
That maybe if I could just get my act together, people would be a lot more interested in this project and then I could be
They
my
have
goal.
a leadership
And then
academy in
I would be
Uganda.
awesome.
They
And then I
have
would
a
be
home
important.
in Kampala for girls
And then
who've
at the
been
same
trafficked,
time,
and they actually have several
I was
courses
dealing with some
projects
growing
recently.
health issues.
One in Nepal,
Some of which we
are
were able to
identified
identify, others of which we
and
weren't.
again, education really helps
and
break
was
the
just
cycle of
moving into a
trafficking.
really
The other
frustrating
thing that they're
place,
doing
into a place
is
where
raising
I had
up
put a lot of
peers.
stock.
In Uganda,
a
I
lot of
think
my
the
identity
median
in
age is like
what I was
14.
doing.
It's a very, very young
in who I really
population
was
because of
and
all of
I spent a lot of time
the
struggling
war
with
and
that,
things
with
that
shame, feeling like I would never
and
measure
so,
up, like I would never.
They're
be good
working
enough.
really hard to raise
And
up.
so there's one other moment
leaders
from
who
during the year
wise
that I
and
do want to share with
informed
you.
about these issues
This is
and
from day
informed their
242 when it
communities
took
to stop
place
them.
in my driveway.
Which is, I think, one of the most
The
powerful
Saturday sun
things
bakes
we
our
can
driveway
do.
into the strip
And
of
then
lava. Welcome to
International-
September in
The
Florida.
International Justice Mission.
The weather
Thank you.
doesn't really start
They
to
work
come
all
out
over the
until late
world. They work
October,
with
maybe, unless it's
all
this
kinds of
summer.
trafficking. They focus a lot on the
85
legal
degrees on
side,
Christmas.
and then on the restoration.
It never really
the,
gets
the rescue and restoration is very comprehensive.
Heat seeps through the
usually
soles
they
of
walk
my
through
feet as
the
I walk
entire
down to the
process.
mailbox.
Again, working
After
on
pulling it
very
open, I grab the mail and thumb through it.
with
Under the letters and
lawyers
flyers, there's a
psychologists
small padded envelope
in the
addressed to
communities
me.
where these
I walk
people
back
are
inside the
where
house.
they're being
The roar of a happy crowd fills the adjoining room as the college team on the television scores
On
a
the page
touchdown.
that's on the screen
Yeah,
there,
right.
if you were to
It could
click
be a
on
long
the
game.
Winz
I sit down at the kitchen table
we've
and slide my
listed,
finger under
there are
the seal of the
links to
package.
all of
I
those
shake
that
it and a
were
gauzy red pouch slides into my
dedicated,
hand.
or you
Inside is a
dedicated.
necklace. It's a simple gold key attached to a chain. On the key, one word is engraved: freedom.
It's coming.
Sometimes I get emails
Actually,
from
click
people
on
who
the
ask for my
Winz
address and
tab.
they can send me things to wear with the dress.
At the top,
This
I'm
package is
sorry.
from a woman who wrote to me in
It's the very
August.
last one.
There you go.
The note inside the package explains
And
that
it's,
the necklace
it's on
is a
that,
giving
yeah. It's on that
The
page.
Giving Keys program hires people transitioning out of homelessness to engrave recycled keys with an inspirational word. The keys are then sold. Each key is designed to be worn until the owner has embraced
Oh,
whatever
Restore
word is
International has
underneath.
recently changed their
Then
name.
they
to
pass
Love
it
Does,
on
and they
to
were founded by
someone
Bob
who
Goff,
gets
who
the
wrote the
message
book Love Does.
The
So-
woman who sent me the keys
Those
picked the
two are
word freedom for me
interchangeable.
because of my focus on ending human trafficking. She also tells me that this key is a reminder of God's grace.
Thank you, Bethany.
Grace is something I can thank you all for helping. I pick up the necklace, rubbing the word with my thumb. What does grace really mean for me right now? Does God still have grace for me even though nothing is turning out the way I thought it would? Her note about restoration and love is like water to my parched heart. She doesn't know half of what I'm struggling with, but her words are ones I need to hear. I finish reading the letter with 1,000 thoughts tumbling through my mind. I fold it and slip it back inside the envelope. She's right. The whole reason behind this project is that I am working to free people from trafficking. But what I've been finding is that I too am in desperate need of freedom. Picking up the necklace, I loop it around my neck and fasten the clasp in place. Dad cheers along with the television. As I walk to my room, I hope her words of grace will sink into my soul. I'm going to need them tomorrow when I speak about the dress at another youth group gathering. I'm still struggling with how the dress project is going. I want to believe that what I'm doing matters. I want to believe that God can use people like me and like the teenagers I'm getting ready to talk to. But right now I wonder if I'm doing any good. I want to believe that God is working in and through me even though I can't see it or feel it happening. I need God's grace to meet me in the middle of my doubts and fears. I just hope I'm able to encourage the kids I'm going to meet tomorrow despite my own struggles. So, despite kind of hitting that point from, really it was from August to December, so for almost half of the year that I was wearing the dress, I did manage to finish. There were moments that I white-knuckled. I am stubborn, for those of you who don't know me. Like, if there's things that I don't care about, I'm super wishy-washy, but if I care, I am really, really stubborn. And so when I say that I'm going to do something like wear a dress for a year, I'm going to wear a dress for a year. regardless of whether I want to or not. So there were definitely moments that I white-knuckled my way through, but I was glad in the end to have done it, to have put it on all 366 days. Oh, for those of you who are wondering, yes, I did wash it. I get that question more frequently than you might think. Yeah, I mean, by the end it still smelled a little bit because I'd worn it for 366 days, but yeah. So I didn't wear it all the time either. Like when I went swimming, I wore a bathing suit and not the dress. And if I was gardening, I wore yoga pants and not the dress. And if I was sleeping, I wore pajamas and not the dress. Yeah, I got a lot of, especially from the middle school boys at my church. Got a lot of really interesting questions. But anyhow, so I finished the year. I was glad and yet sad to hang that dress up. I had to figure out who I was apart from it then, because I had put so much of my identity in it. But it was really cool, and it was incredible to get to watch all of the people who God brought along in this process, who partnered with me by donating, by praying for me, by encouraging me, by sending clothes, by letting me go through their closets and take clothes. It was just an incredible experience. And then I think I'm supposed to talk a little bit about publishing. So this is a little bit of a story that's amusing to me. My parents are on staff with Cru, formerly Campus Crusade for Christ, and they were at the time both working in the communications department. And so they were working with the person who puts together the newsletter that goes out to staff and alumni. And at some point along the way, my mom had voluntold me to write an article for this newsletter about my dress project. And I didn't really want to, and when I was in the middle of writing it in February, I was really mad about it because me and the editor had some disagreements about which direction it should go. And it was a very short article, and so we didn't have space to go both directions. And so I just remember getting one of his emails and pacing around the room and just thinking, Mom, what have you gotten me into? This is all your fault. So anyhow, finished the article, got it done, did it the way that the editor wanted. He was right. That's usually the case. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then in April, all of a sudden, my mom called me because I was out of state doing some things. She called me and she goes, hey, have you checked your email recently? And I said, yeah, but, and so I went into my inbox and I hit refresh, and there was an email from my dad, and he had hit reply all on an email he had gotten and included me on it. And it was from a woman who said, I'm a literary agent, I'm always looking for new stories. Is there any way that I can get in touch with Bethany to see if she'd be interested in writing a book about her dress project? And no wonder my mother had called me. So I sat with it for a few days, talked with the people who know me and love me, and it seemed like it was a worthwhile endeavor. And so we launched into it. This agent paired me up with Susanna, who was my co-author, who again was just incredible. We finished the proposal at the end of that summer, sent it off the day before I left my house to come to Tribeca. And so we heard several no's first, because no's happen a lot faster in publishing houses than yes. And then we didn't hear anything for several months. And I kind of shrugged my shoulders and thought, okay, maybe it wasn't meant to be. And part of that was relieving because I was experiencing some things that I wanted to be able to give my full attention to. But then in February, I got an email from my agent saying, hey, we have an editor at Baker who's interested. And I said, oh, okay. And so we had some phone calls. They offered a contract. I was home Easter break of my freshman year and signed the contract at that point. And then we got to work writing. And then, so, I don't always know how to talk about this because I came in with dual enrollment credits. So for the first year that I was here, I was a freshman. For the second year that I was here, I was a junior, but then I took a semester off, so now I'm a first semester senior, and it's all a little bit confusing. But, so when I was a junior, the summer after my freshman year, right after the summer of my freshman year, my health issues were continuing to climax. I because of my health issues, was cooking all of my own food, took 17 credit hours, co-wrote a book, and was a peer mentor. And I kind of crashed. My body was like, you know, we've been keeping it together, but that's just too much. And so we got the book done, worked through the editing process, but at the same time, I was kind of dealing with all of these things, and I was thinking, if I had known everything that these years were going to entail, I never would have signed this contract. And I think there's part of me that thinks it's the grace of God that we don't always know what's coming when we step into things, because otherwise we would never do anything. I don't know about you, I would never do anything if I knew it was coming. So it's been really interesting actually how all three of those things have coincided, because my time at Tribeca has taught me a lot about social justice and a lot about what it really means. Because I think it's a very American thing, but we tend to go in and think we know what